Cheers.
Sunday, it's the Beard Room, and welcome. I'll be your host for the evening, and I am the Flamey. With me today, we have the Filthiest Banana.
Hey.
We have Lord Shmup, aka Surreal Rager.
That's me, baby.
We have the Yeast from the East, the Bread Roll.
Hello there.
And finally, we have my good friend, the Colonel, Mr. Steph.
Hey, everyone.
So, on tonight's episode, we are going to be talking about our current reviews and what we're playing. We're also going to talk about a bit of news. There's a big announcement this week that I think you'll be aware of. And then finally, Q&As. So, let's do this. Myself, I am currently playing Xenoblade on the Switch still. I am about 2 hours into it now. I'm going backwards. And it's enjoyable, really good fun. But I'm also playing a bit of a shorter game in between, and it's called Pixboy. And that's a new one on the Nintendo Switch as well. Very retro, very much like a mobile style game. And you'll see my review of that very soon. Moving on, let's go over to TF Banana. What are you playing?
So, I've started a new JRPG that I can't tell you what it is.
Is it Xenoblade?
It is not. But what I can tell you is I am about 600 hours in after getting the code the other day. I think I've probably got 1,200 more to go. But no, in all seriousness, I'm at a loss for words for how fantastic this game is right now. It's scratching every itch that I've had for just a in-depth, deep, systems upon systems, intrigue, just deep RPG. Between just the combat, which is just, it's utterly nuanced and just beautiful. It's a system that I'm not familiar with, and it's a long-running series that spans 5 different console generations that I've somehow missed. And I'm embarrassed, but I'm also excited because now I've got this whole franchise that I can't wait to go backwards, start at the beginning so I can kind of catch up. You know, before I started playing it, I had to do a lot of backstory reading so I knew what in the hell was going on. And I'm certainly glad that I did do that because this one is the biggest negative I can say is you can't jump into this one and know what's going on if you don't do some reading. And the one thing I will say is they give you plenty of backstory built into the game to read.
Sounds good. Moving on, let's go over to the Lord himself. What are you playing at the moment?
Well, I just finished my review I spoke about last time by Head Up Games, Rigid Force Redux, which is a horizontal shmup. I just completed my review, and I can say today, because their official announcement is out, that it's an 8 out of 10, and I would recommend it. And after that, I'm about to start another game published by Head Up Games. It's called Out Buddies DX, which is a Metroid exploration type game with a new looking style that I haven't seen, and I'm pretty excited to try it. I haven't booted it up yet, but that's next on the bill for me.
Excellent. Mr. Bread Roll.
So I've just finished my review, which is available now on our YouTube channel for They Came From the Sky. It's basically one for fans of games of the old school arcade retro, things like Space Invaders. It's short, it's sweet, it's cheap. It's basically me on a date. So check over on our YouTube channel. And I'm just about to start Toy Cars 2, which is basically a cross between Micro Machines and Mario Kart. And at the same time, I'm going to play every Wii game all at once, Wanking Simulator. More on that soon.
Excellent. And last but not least, Steph, what have you been playing this week?
So I've been playing a bit of an old school classic, Command & Conquer and Command & Conquer Red Alert. So it's the 25th anniversary for that. And EA decided to do a remaster. So it's not a remake, it's just a remaster. So there's a lot of upscaling of the FMVs, but there's new assets, like new graphical assets and stuff. But what's really cool as well, you can switch between the old mode and the new mode pretty seamlessly. Just hit the space bar and it just transfers to the old graphics, which is pretty cool.
That sounds good. And how difficult is it pushing the spacebar? How have you found it?
Very difficult. Depends what I'm using to push it with, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's really cool. The menu's been updated. They've added some like
better quality of life stuff to it. It was one of the original RTSs that come out, so they've come a long way since then. There's a few kinks in it still, like the Pathfinder AR is a bit off sometimes, but like I said, it's a remaster, not a remake. If you love the original, you'll definitely love this. It's like 18 quid, so it's worth it in my opinion.
Great stuff. Sounds good all round. So moving on swiftly, we shall join the bread roll with some news. As I mentioned earlier in the episode, there was that big announcement this week that is going to probably take a lot of our time today. So over to bread roll and Sunset Riders on the Switch.
So we are here, obviously, before we talk about that big announcement that I'm sure we're all aware of, just two things that have popped up lately that are pretty cool. EA, as we mentioned last week, seem to be back on track and doing more the right thing for the consumers, us, the gamers. And there will be, on the 15th, a trailer for the newly announced Star Wars Squadrons, which is basically EA's version of Rogue Squadron, I imagine. Been looking forward for a remake or some kind of a new Rogue Squadron style experience. Battlefront 2 had the Starfighter Assault, which was really good. It looked fantastic, played really well. But this is now a dedicated game about piloting. Comes with a full campaign and, of course, multiplayer. Hopefully, the reveal was really good, and it's going to be a good focus on more about the gameplay and not about the microtransactions. Learn your lesson, EA. And next coming up, we have 13 Remastered, which is coming out on all relevant platforms. I think it might even come out on Stadia, but we never know. Basically, it's a remaster of an old game that came out on the PS2 and sort of GameCube era. It's based on a comic book series of the same name. I believe it's got David Duchovny doing a voice, but obviously, if you're that depressed, just switch it off. It's cel shaded. It's a really good first-person shooter. It kind of went a little bit under the radar back in the day, but it's actually a lot of fun for those who did pick it up. So I'm looking forward to the remaster. As I say, it's coming out on PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Chances are it'll be transferred over to the new consoles that are coming out, which I believe we're about to talk about now.
Excellent. So the big reveal was the PlayStation 5 event. Obviously, Sunset Riders was probably second. So let's go around, have a discussion, thoughts, and what we kind of expected to what we got. I guess for me, I'll kick it off. It was okay. It was just over an hour, I believe, of just video footage almost of the games. The only two that really stood out were Ratchet and Clank and Horizon for myself. I mean, you open it up with Grand Theft Auto, essentially. That came out on the PS3. So it's good, but that's a selling point that it's free. When do we really care at this point? Obviously, Rockstar are going to love it because it's just going to drag that out for a bit longer. But yeah, I think moving on to the design, I guess it was okay. It's weird. The disk drive certainly adds a lot onto that form factor. I guess it's very different. Again, a bit like the Xbox Series X. Not something we've seen before. Is it good? I don't know. I'll sleep on it. But I've seen lots of memes about it, and it does look a bit like a router. Does look a bit like a skybox, but I've not seen one yet. I think it looks very much like, I don't know if they're called this in the US. They're certainly in Europe. They're called Maxi Bonds, and you get like a bit of ice cream with a wafer either side, and you can get chocolate on it. So it reminds me of one of those. Yeah, essentially, yeah.
A router here and an ice cream sandwich here, but also a router and a whatever you just called it.
Skybox.
A skybox, a slab between some wafers.
I mean, if it fits under my TV, that's all it needs to do.
Does it have to stand straight up like it's been presented?
I think it can go either way.
Like some of us here.
Anyway, who's next? Who wants to talk and tell me about their experience of it?
I'll go next. I didn't watch that. No, I did not watch that. There's plenty of updates on Twitter. I don't need to waste an hour of my time watching this update. And my PS4 collects enough dust that I don't need another PS anything to collect more dust. But if our good friends at Sony would like to give us a review console, you could change our minds. Over to you, Steph.
You got something in your eye there?
Yeah, so I watched it with my son. Bit underwhelming, if I'm honest. Um, to be honest, I don't really buy a lot of consoles at launch anyway. Mainly because I'm a tight-fisted bastard, and I normally like to wait and see if there's any decent games that have actually come out for it. It's too early to tell, isn't it? I mean, I thought it was really disappointing that they had Grand Theft Auto 5 as the first thing on there because it's like flogging a dead horse. It's 8 years old, for Christ's sake. Now, if it was Vice City remake, then I would have got a huge boner. But
Yeah, that'd be
that
sweet.
didn't happen. That happened later on. But I don't know. There was a lot of indie games in there. The only real big game was Horizon Zero Dawn 2, whatever it's called, Forbidden Forest, Forbidden Fruit. I don't know. The first one was a very, very good game, and the next one looks amazing. But it's too early to tell, and we don't even know how much it's going to cost.
Yeah, I'm on your page as well, Steph, because I bought a Switch a year after launch, and that's now my favorite console. So it could turn some heads, it could change some minds, but I will likely just as well wait. I'm not gonna dish $500 or $600, $700 into this thing. I'll
Yeah.
wait. I got time and I got plenty of games to play and review on Switch.
Like I've got PS4, but I don't really play on it that much, and there's so many games on there that I could play that I haven't played. And the Switch is the only thing that I bought close to launch. So I bought it like a month or two afterwards. And yeah, normally I do wait and just see what kind of games come out. So
Safe option, definitely.
Absolutely.
So, Mr. Banana.
I echo kind of everything that you guys have said. To me, ultimately, it was what I expected it to be. It didn't blow me out of the way or out of the water with anything. I expected things to look better, but
Yeah.
it's no different than there's been talk before, even when the Xbox One and PS4 were just coming out, that it's going to be a while before we have another big jump. And like the 360 to the One, there's a jump. You can see it if you look at the games that we're getting now versus the end of the 360. But the real jump, if you think about it, is from the original Xbox to what the One is now. And so I don't think that it's going to be fun. There's going to be amazing games. That we got that new Spider-Man that's coming, so of course that's going to be great. I'm excited to see the Oddworld because I thought it was interesting that we're getting a lot of remasters of the old Oddworld stuff, and then boom, we've got Oddworld Soulstorm coming now. So I'm interested to see that, and I think it's going to be just fine. But I'm also kind of like Trevor. I'm not a big PlayStation guy either, and so I can't. That's an implicit bias on my side. I've just never really I hate the controller. I'll just put it out there at me. I hate the
Blasphemy.
controller. I hate it. So
I think the buttons on the controller are something that need to be experienced. Are they going to work?
yeah,
Because they're a lot more flush.
yeah.
They look a bit more like a pressure sensitive type button.
I could see
So I'd
that.
be interested on that.
Yeah.
Like a sort of haptic system built in. That'd be a way that they could make it a bit different. I always felt like whenever I was playing PS1 or PS2 that if you press a little bit harder, it felt like it had some sort of effect. Probably not.
Of course it did. It always did.
Yeah.
Yeah, same with the people that turn their controller.
and if you lean really close to the telly, then it it gets more intense.
But I mean, again, at the end of the day, like I said, I really think that this next generation is going to be rough, Xbox included. I think that the indie scene is thriving so much right now because of the creativity. And that's why the Switch is such a big hit. Other than being a hybrid, is that Nintendo are the masters of innovation and creativity. And there's a big movement that correct me if I'm wrong, that I've been seeing to getting back to just fun games, not these big bombastic AAA productions that look so lifelike. Just core fun games. And so that's
One, two, switch. One, two, switch.
Yeah.
Do you think the rain has anything to do with your negative opinion, Nan?
Mood.
Cool. And then, last but not least, Mr. Bread Roll. Let's have your views.
Well, speaking of just their presentation, personally for me, I liked it because there was no crap, there was no pomp or rubbish like you used to see at E3, and it came straight in with footage. It was showing games. More importantly, it was showing gameplay. And I get what everyone's saying here. Yeah, I mean, the jump from PS4 and Xbox to the new ones isn't as much because we've had the Pro and we've had the One X or whatever the hell it's called. So kind of like the jump's already kind of happened. Now they're just kind of smoothing everything out, and it will look good. It will look amazing. And I reckon in a few years' time, as always, when you get halfway through a console generation, stuff really starts to pick up once developers and publishers are used to using the hardware. Just look at what we got on the Switch now. We've got games like The Witcher running on the Switch, and it looks fantastic. Alien Isolation looks better than it did on the PS4, but that's a couple of years into the Switch's life cycle. I really like the presentation. Probably going to get it because me and Rach have decided we were going to get the Xbox and the PlayStation anyway. She's an Xbox girl. On PlayStation. I'm not expecting to be completely blown away, but there are some games there, mainly some of the new IPs and the indie stuff they were focusing on. I already knew like Horizon Zero Dawn 2 was coming, so I was going to buy that anyway because I love the first one. All that stuff was good, but games like Stray really got my attention. That just looked really good fun. And there's a couple of others, I can't remember their names now, but they just look like good, fun indie adventures. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how the kind of like landscape changes with this new gen not quite feeling like a whole new gen and a whole new step up. And of course the price tag will be a big factor for a lot of people. Personally, I like the look of the console, even though from the front it looks like a dildo holder, but not that I've seen them. Been around. I wanted the console that didn't look like just a generic black box that sits out. I wanted something that looked a bit different, a little bit more flashy. Wasn't quite what I was expecting, but I'm not upset by it. I'd be happy to have that in my living room. I really don't care because at the end of the day, it's how it performs. At least that's what I tell my fiance. So, yeah, I'm quite happy. I thought it was a good presentation. They didn't waste time on all the crap. They just got straight down to business. So fair play to them. And obviously, we just have to see what the future holds, don't we?
That's it, definitely. And I think especially kind of part of what you've touched on there is going on to the new Xbox. Microsoft for the first year or so are going to be making the games work on the Xbox One, the Xbox One X, Series X, the S. So actually, you're probably not going to see that true next gen for a couple of years, potentially. Obviously, they've got that smart delivery where you get the best version on what machine you've got, but they are going to be held back somewhat, I believe, by making it across that Xbox family. But it will be interesting to see how it pans out. Yeah, so absolutely. I guess rounding up, as always, it's question time. We've had a bit of feedback, as always. The John has sent in a question for us.
And
it seems to be his thing now.
Here we go.
So this week, it's actually a really good and interesting question. This time of year is normally E3. Obviously, it's cancelled for this year. Do you think E3 is done now? If so, is that a good thing? So open it up to everyone. Any thoughts on E3?
I think my first question to everybody, isn't there a fee for all the publishers, developers to be a part of this?
I would imagine so.
I'm pretty
From
sure
what
that's
I remember, yes.
About. Right, so they're going to bypass that by having it digitally, or even if they don't have an E3 digital, I think everybody should do their own thing. So I think it's a good thing that it's over, and I don't think it's going to make its way back. People that have made videos talking about their experiences at E3 have been, it's good, but it's mostly bad. It's not a good time. There's long lines, long waits, this, that, and the other. And I think all these platforms coming out, not just, let's say the Microsoft presentations or the PlayStation, but there are, especially this year, there's more emerging platforms that are showcasing indie games and doing it in a different way that's focused on those indie developers. So I don't think E3 is going to be coming back. I think it's going to be separating as it is right now because it can't happen. And the things that emerge are going to be the new standard. So I'm cool with it being gone, and I can't wait to see more of these indie platforms emerge and show their games off.
Yeah, I think it would be good. Like you said, I personally don't think it will be back. I think they'll have lost too much money this time around. And the last few years, they've started to lose a bit of interest in it. But I've always had a tradition of watching it. It's on ridiculously late over here in the UK. Get a couple of friends around, drink all night and watch it. That's what we normally do. It's almost like
WrestleMania of gaming.
Exactly, that is it. But I think what they'll do, hopefully, for next year is still do it, but do it as a digital thing. They'll get everyone to line up their videos, and it'll be a stream for X amount of hours each night. And it kind of is just a bit of a quality of life thing for me more than anyone else, because I don't want to be trying to type in all these different streams and finding what time everything's on. It's like 10 o'clock E3's on for 3 hours. It's
Yep.
digital. Watch it now. Get drunk with your friends. Done.
Yeah,
Anyone
exactly.
else?
No, I agree with Trevor. And I really think that Nintendo laid the groundwork for it when they started doing their Nintendo Directs. They were like, there's no point in it. We can control the narrative, we can still show it off, and still get it to everybody. And, you know, Microsoft, I think, was it 2 years ago, started taking steps away and having their event across the street, and EA started pulling away, and so
Yes,
it's
exactly.
been coming for a long time. And I mean, we're not going to get into the politics of it, but behind the fees, there's all the political crap that goes into it as well. And so now what you're seeing is we can control this, and you've got Devolver Digital is indie developer, but they're a big part of E3 in the past, but they already shown that they don't need it either. They can fully just dump a video out or whatever. You know, I'll be interested to see, kind of like what you were saying, if we get some kind of thing where everybody comes together and there is an E3, or if, you know, everybody just kind of branches off and we're going to get stuck in that hell of you're going to have to type in all these different things.
Yeah.
And so it'll be interesting to see, but I would be really, really honestly, it'd be nice to see a lot of the indies kind of come together and have their own event and release that and support each other and kind of lift each other up. I think that'd be really, really cool.
Cool. Brad, Steph, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean,
I've not been a fan of E3. Sorry, Steph.
I set you up there by saying it at the same time.
Yeah, same time. Go.
Go.
Yeah, in stereo. Yeah, I've not been a fan of E3 for ages. I just think I don't know, it's just such a mishmash of things now. It doesn't really have an identity, and they get people out there to do these presentations, and they're game developers, they're not presenters, they're not entertainers, and it always just looks so awkward and stupid, and you feel sorry for them. And it's like, you know, it's like with Nintendo Direct coming up. Nintendo Direct have shown that you can just come along and just do like a 10-minute video and just showcase a load of cool stuff really quickly. And the recent PS5 launch was exactly the same. So completely agree with what you guys said. Make it a big streaming thing. Bring people together in hubs. So it'll be like Friday night, it's indie night. I don't know, Saturday night is going to be, you know, an hour for each major platform. And then on, I don't know, maybe the Sunday, it'll just be like any multi-platform games will just have like a big sort of like montage or something like that. But if they do want to keep it going, they need to actually probably focus less on all the crap that they keep doing and trying to make it funny, and actually focus on the gaming community and the things that like gaming are actually doing, like things like, you know, Safe in Our World and all that lot, and actually show like events that have happened in the gaming community and actually celebrate that and show what gaming means to people and what, you know, what gamers do, how it brings people together, and actually showcase something of the impact gaming has, not just about here's a game which, you know, we spent loads of money on it and it's going to look like this and it's going to cost you $50 or whatever, and it's like, and focus on the gamers themselves.
And then on Tuesday you can have EA and no one will want to watch it by then. So
exactly, you know, you just pay for DLC and get the episode on Wednesday as well.
Yeah, you explained that in a much easier way, and I tell you what, if EA was still a thing, and I bet they would have to just either charge a whole lot less for people to join or not at all. If they did like what you said, like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all the indie community would do, the conglomerates that are having their own, they could just build around that. All right, cool. We know that's going to be on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so we're going to kick it off Thursday. And then Devolver Digital is going to be like, you know what? Well, we got a few games, so we're going to team up with Head Up or whoever and then do that on like Wednesday. And I feel like everything could be built around that, and it could be like a solid week of video games. That would be amazing.
Steph, that's your mission. You need to email all the indie developers and we'll hold our own next year.
Cool.
We could have like Steph Fest.
Yeah.
For that indie game.
Cool.
Broadcast or something, haven't we? Yeah, so I actually quite. What?
Now he's talking over him. Hey.
What are your views?
Is this being done on purpose?
I'll just be quick, but I actually quite like E3, but purely for the hype train of like what new games are going to come out, sort of thing. I liken it to the English football transfer season. You know, what players are going to sign, that is kind of that sort of hype, I feel. You know, like when they announced Breath of the Wild 2 last year, you know, that was huge and everyone got like massive hypes for it. It's kind of lost its way. It's dated. I think it's time for a revamp, or like you guys say, some sort of different, I don't know.
Different jokes.
Get together of all the guys, you know.
It's different.
Because there is a lot of crap in there, and some of the presentations are beyond cringe. It's like frightening for these massive companies, and you're just sitting there thinking, who are these fucking wankers? They're just idiots. But like Phil Banana was saying, the Nintendo Direct, that's where it's at, I think. You know, if the Sony and Microsoft and that just did regular announcements, like, hey, this is what games are coming out, you know, maybe if they've got a big game coming out, then do a small presentation just solely on that. You know, I think they've really got it down to a T, really.
Yeah, I think that's definitely what we're seeing over the last few months, state of play, the Xbox versions as well. So definitely. And I
And
think
with
moving on
Nintendo-
to our next question, our final question, this
Oh.
one is for Steph.
Oh, God.
So I'll read this word for word.
Go on,
Jack, how do you manage to fit in time for gaming while on set?
I have a trailer with every console.
And when you're on the set of The Holiday with Kate Winslet,
Yeah.
did she ask you to paint her like one of your French girls?
No, but I asked her to paint me like one of her French boys.
And that's it. We are out of time. We're out of questions. That was episode 3, and we will be back next week with some more gibberish.
Yeah.
Peace out.
Guys.
Yeah.